What if your next move is not failing because you are unprepared, but because you keep revealing it before it has the strength to survive? You tell people what you are planning. You explain what you are building. You announce the new version of yourself before that version has even learned how to stand. And for a moment, it feels good. They praise you, they notice you, they tell you that your idea is powerful. But then something strange happens. Your energy begins to disappear. Their opinions enter your mind. Their doubts enter your plan. Their expectations turn your private mission into a public performance. Now you are no longer working to succeed. You're working to avoid looking like a failure. That is how many powerful dreams are destroyed. Not by enemies, not by lack of talent, but by being exposed too early. There are plans that need advice. There are decisions that need trusted support. But there are also moves that must remain silent until they become undeniable. Because the world does not need to hear what you are about to do. It needs to see what you completed. So before you reveal your next move, ask yourself one question. Do they truly need to know? Or are you only afraid of building without applause? What if the reason your plans keep failing is not that you lack talent, discipline, or opportunity, but that you keep exposing them before they have the strength to survive? You feel an idea enter your mind, and before you have taken the first difficult step, you announce it. You tell people what you are going to build, where you are going to move, how much you are going to earn, who you are going to become. For a few moments, their attention makes you feel powerful. Their approval gives you the emotional reward of achievement without requiring the labor of achievement. You speak about the mountain so confidently that your mind begins to behave as though you have already climbed it. But then the excitement fades. The work becomes repetitive. The path becomes uncertain. And now you are not only carrying the weight of the goal, you are carrying the opinions, expectations, doubts, questions, and invisible pressure of everyone who knows about it. This is how many dreams die. Not in dramatic failure, not in one great defeat. They die slowly under the weight of being explained too soon. You do not need to reveal every move you are preparing to make. You do not need to give the world a live commentary of your transformation. Some decisions need silence. Some plans need darkness. Some versions of you need to grow where no one is watching. A seed does not announce itself to the forest. It disappears beneath the soil. For a long time, nothing seems to be happening. There is no applause beneath the ground, no audience, no evidence for the impatient eye. Yet roots are forming. Strength is being gathered. The structure that will one day hold the tree upright is being built in complete silence. You must learn to respect this hidden stage of your life. The stage where your progress is real but not visible. The stage where you are becoming stronger, wiser, calmer, and more capable. But there is nothing impressive to show yet. Most people cannot tolerate the stage because it offers no immediate recognition. They want witnesses, they want reactions, they want someone to confirm that the dream matters. But the disciplined person does not require an audience to continue. You must ask yourself an uncomfortable question. Are you committed to the goal, or are you addicted to being seen as someone who has a goal? There is a difference. One person speaks because speaking creates an identity. The other person works because working creates a result. One collects encouragement, the other collects evidence. One repeatedly describes the future. The other quietly builds it. Your next move should not be hidden because you are afraid. It should be protected because it is valuable. There is a difference between secrecy born from insecurity and silence born from discipline. Fearful secrecy says, I cannot trust anyone. Disciplined silence says, not everyone needs access to what is still being formed. You do not have to become cold, suspicious, or isolated. There are people you should speak to, trusted mentors, honest partners, qualified advisors, and those directly involved in the mission. Wisdom does not reject guidance, but guidance is different from broadcasting. A mature person knows the difference between seeking counsel and seeking attention. When you reveal your next move to everyone, you invite voices that have not earned the right to influence it. Some people will project their limitations onto you. They will tell you what cannot be done because they never had the courage to attempt it. Some will laugh because your ambition makes them confront their own hesitation. Some will praise you loudly but secretly hope you remain familiar. And some will not mean you any harm at all. Yet their careless opinions will still plant doubt in a mind that has not become stable enough. This does not mean everyone is against you. It means everyone sees life through the boundaries of their own experience. A person who has never crossed an ocean may honestly believe your boat is too small. A person who surrendered years ago may call your persistence unrealistic. A person who chose comfort may describe your discipline as obsession. They may be sincere. They may also be wrong. You cannot allow every sincere opinion to become a command. Your life requires inner authority. There comes a moment when you must stop placing your decisions in the hands of people who will never live with the consequences. They will not wake up inside your regret. They will not carry your unused potential. They will not feel the pain of knowing you abandoned something meaningful because their doubt became louder than your conviction. So listen carefully. Consider wisdom. Study the risks. Accept correction. But after you have done this, make your decision and move. Quietly, clearly, completely. There is power in becoming difficult to predict. Not because you're playing games with people, but because you are no longer leaking your energy through constant explanation. Every time you explain a fragile goal, you spend some of the energy that should have been invested in it. You defend it, you justify it. You answer questions about timelines you cannot yet know. You make promises based on motivation instead of evidence. And then, without realizing it, you begin shaping the goal around other people's expectations. What started as your calling becomes a public performance. Now you are afraid to change direction because people are watching. You are afraid to begin again because you announced the first plan too confidently. You are afraid to move slowly because you told everyone success would come quickly. This is the trap of premature revelation. You become loyal to your announcement instead of loyal to the truth. Silence gives you room to adapt. It allows you to be a beginner without embarrassment. It allows you to make mistakes without turning every mistake into a public identity. It allows you to test, learn, fail, rebuild, and return stronger. You need this room. The early stage of any meaningful pursuit is often clumsy. Your first attempt may be weak. Your strategy may be incomplete. Your confidence may rise and fall. You may discover that the path you chose is not the path that will carry you forward. This is normal. But when everything is visible, normal uncertainty feels like humiliation. You begin performing certainty instead of pursuing clarity. You pretend to know because you are afraid to admit you are still learning. And pretending wastes time. A quiet mind can say, "This method is not working, I will change it." An ego surrounded by spectators says, "I must continue so I do not look foolish." Silence protects you from becoming a prisoner of your own image. You are allowed to evolve privately. You are allowed to outgrow plans that once made sense. You are allowed to change your mind when deeper understanding arrives. You are allowed to disappear from noise and return with substance. There was once a young stonecutter who dreamed of creating a statue unlike anything his village had ever seen. He found a large block of stone near the edge of the mountains and began working before sunrise each day. The sound of his hammer echoed through the valley. At first, the villagers were curious. They asked him what he was making. He described it in great detail. He spoke of the face, the posture, the meaning, and the honor it would bring him. The villagers praised the vision. Some called him a master before the shape had even appeared. The young man felt proud. Each evening, he returned to the village and told them how much progress he had made. Their admiration became part of his routine. But soon, the work became difficult. A crack appeared in the stone. The proportions were wrong. The image in his mind would not obey his hands. The villagers continued asking when the statue would be complete. Some offered advice. Some mocked the delay. Others reminded him of the promises he had made. Ashamed, the young man covered the stone and stopped working. Years later, an old sculptor passed through the village. He noticed the covered block and asked permission to examine it. The young man, now older and quieter, showed him the unfinished statue. The old sculptor studied it and said, "The stone did not defeat you. The village entered your hands." The young man did not understand. The sculptor continued, "Every time you lifted the hammer, you were no longer listening to the stone. You were listening to the praise, the questions, the laughter, and the deadline you created. Your hands became crowded." The young man asked, "What should I have done?" The old sculptor replied, "You should have worked until the statue was strong enough to speak for itself." That is your lesson. Work until the result can speak. You do not have to explain the strength you are building. Let your habits reveal it. You do not have to announce that you are changing. Let your choices reveal it. You do not have to tell everyone you are becoming more disciplined. Let your consistency reveal it. You do not have to promise that you will rise. Rise. Words can create direction, but repeated words without action create illusion. There are people who spend years narrating a life they never begin. They research endlessly. They discuss possibilities. They redesign the plan. They imagine the reaction. They announce the date. Then they move the date. Then they explain why the date changed. Their dream becomes a conversation they have instead of a reality they build. Do not let your life become a speech about what you almost did. There is a quiet dignity in unfinished work that is still being honored. You may not be ready. Continue preparing. You may not be recognized. Continue improving. You may not have certainty. Continue learning. Not every step requires confidence. Some steps require only obedience to the direction you have chosen. People often think confidence comes before action. Usually confidence comes from evidence. You keep a promise to yourself. You complete one difficult morning. You resist one old habit. You practice when no one is impressed. You survive one setback without abandoning the mission. Then something changes. You begin trusting yourself. This trust is quieter than excitement, but far more powerful. Excitement says, I feel unstoppable today. Self-trust says, even when I do not feel powerful, I know I will continue. This is the foundation you need. Your next move should come from self-trust, not emotional urgency. You do not have to respond to every provocation. You do not have to defend yourself against every misunderstanding. You do not have to reveal your strategy to prove that you have one. Sometimes the strongest move is to remain calm while others mistake your silence for weakness. Let them misunderstand, not forever, but long enough for you to remain focused. Many people destroy their peace trying to control how they are perceived. They want everyone to know they are intelligent, everyone to know they are ambitious, everyone to know they are improving, everyone to know they have options. But the more desperately you attempt to prove your power, the more power you surrender. Real strength does not constantly introduce itself. It is felt in restraint, in patience, in the ability to delay a reaction, in the ability to hear an insult without allowing it to rewrite your schedule, in the ability to remain committed when no one is praising you. Your next move may be the decision not to respond. It may be leaving an argument without delivering the final sentence. It may be walking away from a situation that survives only because you keep feeding it attention. It may be choosing preparation over revenge. It may be choosing a long-term victory over a short-term emotional release. Not every battle deserves your energy. Some people will try to pull you into chaos because chaos is the only place where they feel powerful. Do not enter every storm that calls your name. You have work to do. There are moments when silence is not weakness. It is the refusal to waste sacred energy on meaningless conflict. But do not misunderstand this lesson. Silence should never become an excuse to avoid necessary conversations. You must speak when boundaries are crossed. You must communicate clearly with people who depend on you. You must ask for help when the burden is beyond your ability. You must tell the truth where silence would create harm. Discipline is not emotional disappearance. Wisdom is knowing what to reveal, when to reveal it, and to whom. A locked door is not hatred, it is discernment. You can love people without giving them access to every unfinished part of your life. You can respect someone without allowing their fear to decide your future. You can remain kind without becoming available for constant explanation. Healthy privacy is not deception, it is stewardship. Your energy is a resource. Your attention is a resource. Your plans are a resource. Spend them carefully. Before you reveal your next move, ask yourself 3 questions. Does this person need to know? Has this person earned my trust? Will sharing this create useful support, accountability, wisdom, or action? If the answer is no, silence may serve you better. Not every question deserves a complete answer. Not every curious person is a trusted person. Not every supportive voice is a wise voice. And not every person who loves you understands the path you are called to walk. You must become comfortable with being temporarily unseen. This is difficult because human beings naturally want recognition. There is nothing shameful about wanting to be understood. But when the need to be understood becomes stronger than the commitment to your purpose, you begin abandoning yourself for approval. You explain what does not need explanation. You reveal what needs protection. You rush what needs time. You make choices that look impressive from the outside but feel empty within. The person who cannot tolerate being unseen will always be controlled by the eyes of others. Freedom begins when your private standards become more important than public reaction. Ask yourself at the end of the day, not did they notice me, but did I honor the work? Did you practice? Did you learn? Did you keep the boundary? Did you save the money? Did you complete the task? Did you move one step closer? This is how a powerful life is built. Not through one dramatic announcement, through hundreds of quiet decisions. A river does not cut through stone because it is loud. It changes the landscape because it continues. You need that kind of strength. Not the strength that appears for 3 days after inspiration. The strength that remains after the emotion leaves. The strength that shows up when the results are delayed. The strength that can work without witnesses. The strength that does not require constant reassurance. Your greatest transformation may be happening during a season that looks empty to everyone else. Do not interrupt it by trying to prove that something is happening. Let the roots deepen. Let the mind clear. Let the skills sharpen. Let the plan become strong. There will be a time to reveal. There will be a time to launch. There will be a time to stand before the world and say, "This is what I have built." But revelation should follow preparation. Do not show the bridge while you are still learning how to support its weight. Build the foundation first, test it, strengthen it, then allow others to cross. You may be afraid that if you remain silent, someone else will move first. Perhaps they will. But another person moving first does not mean they will move well. Speed is not always advantage. Visibility is not always progress. Noise is not always influence. Some people appear to be far ahead because they publicize every step. Meanwhile, someone else is quietly developing a level of mastery that will eventually make comparison meaningless. Do not confuse public motion with private growth. A person can post every day and remain internally stuck. Another can disappear for a year and return completely changed. Your responsibility is not to look active, it is to become effective. This requires patience. And patience is not passive waiting. Patience is active preparation without immediate reward. It is showing up before the opportunity arrives. It is strengthening your mind before the pressure comes. It is building discipline before success increases the weight of your responsibilities. It is learning to manage little before asking life to give you more. Everyone wants the visible harvest. Few people respect the hidden season. But the harvest only reveals what the hidden season produced. You cannot pretend your way through preparation. Eventually, pressure exposes the truth. It reveals whether your confidence is rooted in competence or applause. It reveals whether your discipline is stable or dependent on mood. It reveals whether your character can hold what your ambition is asking for. So do not rush to be seen. Rush to become ready. You may feel behind. That feeling can make you reckless. You look at others and believe you must announce something, launch something, prove something, or force something now. But comparison creates false urgency. You do not know the full cost of another person's path. You do not know what support they had. You do not know what debt they carry. You do not know whether the life they display is the life they actually experience. Return to your own ground. Your path has its own timing. Your responsibility is to move with integrity, not panic. A delayed move made with clarity can be stronger than a quick move made from insecurity. Take the time to know why you are moving. Are you leaving because the season is complete or because discomfort frightened you? Are you speaking because truth is required or because silence makes you feel invisible? Are you pursuing the opportunity because it aligns with your values or because you want to impress people who are not living your life? Are you changing direction because new wisdom has arrived or because discipline became boring? These questions matter. Silence creates enough space to hear the answers. Noise keeps you reacting. Silence helps you choose. And your life will be shaped less by the number of options you have than by the quality of the choices you make. Your next move does not need to be dramatic. Sometimes your next move is going to sleep on time. Sometimes it is deleting the distraction. Sometimes it is refusing another unnecessary expense. Sometimes it is apologizing without defending yourself. Sometimes it is applying again. Sometimes it is accepting that the old plan has ended. Sometimes it is staying where you are and becoming more disciplined instead of constantly searching for a new environment. Do not underestimate small, quiet moves. A great change often begins with a decision that no one else considers important. 1 hour protected each morning, one honest conversation, one commitment removed, one skill practiced daily, one boundary enforced consistently, one harmful pattern interrupted. The world may not notice the day your life changes, because the change often begins inside your standards. You decide that you will no longer negotiate with the habit that is destroying your future. You decide that loneliness will not send you back to relationships that cost you your peace. You decide that criticism will not stop you from becoming a beginner. You decide that temporary discomfort is a fair price for lasting self-respect. No announcement is required. The decision becomes visible through repetition. This is why you must be careful with promises. When you repeatedly promise what you do not complete, your own mind stops believing you. You become suspicious of your motivation. You hear yourself say, "This time will be different." But some part of you remembers all the previous times. The way to repair this is not through a more emotional promise. It is through a smaller, quieter action. Stop making dramatic commitments to impress yourself. Choose one action you can repeat. Then repeat it long enough for your identity to change. You do not become disciplined by declaring discipline. You become disciplined by doing what matters when no one is forcing you. Quiet action restores self-respect. Each completed act says, "My word has weight." Each boundary maintained says, "My future matters." Each hour of focused work says, "I am no longer waiting to be rescued by motivation." This is how you become dangerous to your old limitations. Not through anger, through consistency, not through showing everyone what you are capable of, through discovering it yourself. There will be people who only respect you after the result appears. Do not become bitter toward them. Human beings often recognize evidence more easily than potential. Your task is not to force them to believe early. Your task is to keep building. There will also be people who believed in you before you had evidence. Now, honor them, listen to them, but do not make them responsible for your continuation. Even the most loving encouragement cannot replace personal discipline. At some point, you must walk because you decided to walk. You must continue because the work is worthy, not because someone is clapping. This is adulthood of the spirit. It is the moment when you stop asking the world for permission to become who you know you must become. You still remain humble, you still accept feedback, you still admit when you are wrong. But you no longer abandon your direction every time someone questions it. A tree that changes direction with every wind never grows tall. You need roots. Your values are roots. Your standards are roots. Your reason for beginning is a root. Your daily practice is a root. The opinions of others are weather. Some weather nourishes you. Some tests you. Some passes without meaning.